Hello, Future Matt here. This video was filmed before the Galaxy Z Flip 4 and Z Fold 4 were announced. I put this project to the side because I got really busy with other videos, so I just wanted to give you guys some context before the video starts. Everything in here is how I switch from iOS to Android and back. It's the best way to keep in both ecosystems, so hopefully you guys learned something. So this is the Galaxy Z Flip 3. I said Z because I'm Canadian, and I've been using it as my primary device for the past month. I wanted to drop the iPhone and come back to Android for a bit since I'm starting to review more phones again. I literally have only reviewed 3 phones this year. Staying relevant and up to date on both platforms is the best way to give you guys an honest opinion. Now, this transition has been tough because my inner circle consists of mostly iPhone users. In fact, 57% of people in Canada use an iPhone and around 55% in the USA. So I had to make a few adjustments in order for this to work, since I ended up going so deep into the Apple ecosystem over the last few years. Now, I chose the Galaxy Z Flip 3 because of the form factor. I just love the idea of having a flip phone because it's small and compact in your pocket, but gives you a nice big screen when you need it. Plus, there's nothing more satisfying than slamming the phone shut after a phone call. Yes, I still make phone calls. I'm only 82. The first issue I ran into was Airdrop. I use a Mac Studio at work and I need to quickly offload footage from my phone to the computer. I record a lot of TikTok and shorts using a phone, so I accumulate a lot of footage. Airdrop has been a game changer for my workflow, so I had to make sure Android had an equivalent. Now, I have a Synology NAS, and what I did was create a folder specifically for my smartphone footage. There's an app on both Android and iOS called DS File that allows me to automatically connect and upload footage to the NAS. Now, this works great if you're local, but if you're remote, you have to use whatever internet connection you have, and it could be slow. In those situations, and for those that don't have a NAS, the alternative is a third-party app like AirDroid. AirDroid sort of works like AirDrop as long as you have the app installed on all the devices. The next transition was finding a replacement to the Apple Watch. I literally wear that thing to track my sleep, go to the gym, and to run outdoors. I landed on the Huawei Watch Gt3 Pro. Now, I personally think it looks way better than the Apple Watch. It has a classic design that can be dressed up or down. For example, when I work out or do anything casual, I'd wear the silicone band. But when I go out in the evening for dinner, I'd use the titanium metal strap. The display is 1.32 inches AMOLED and gets really bright, making it easy to see outdoors. But the best thing about this watch is the battery life. With the Apple Watch, I had to charge every night or 1.5 days. This GT3 Pro literally lasts me anywhere from 8 to 10 days before needing to charge, which is absolutely insane. All the standard workout tools are there with up to 100 different exercises to choose from. The only 3 that I personally need were Other for weight workouts, Elliptical for my cool down, Bike for my warm up, and running outdoors. Huawei's Health app not only allows you to configure the watch, but also gives you access to your fitness data. I was able to see exactly how many steps I took, my average heart rate, and exercise records. And because I wear a watch to sleep, I can monitor exactly how long I slept for and how long I'm in REM sleep. It's IP68 water resistant, so getting it wet was never an issue, and the GPS was accurate when I'd run outdoors. You can also do all the standard stuff like control your music, receive notifications, and of course, take phone calls directly from the watch. Hello, Future Matt back again. There's one major con I discovered with this watch. If you plan on listening to music from the watch without your phone, you have to literally copy it over from your computer, like the old days of copying MP3s. And you can't just like stream offline using Spotify or music because those applications are not compatible. You have to literally use some sort of DRM tool to rip the song from Spotify or Apple, and it makes the entire process tedious. This is only if you want to use your watch to listen to music without your phone. Now, the next hurdle was iMessage and FaceTime. My wife has an iPhone, my parents use an iPhone, and my kids use iPads, so iMessage is something I just couldn't ditch. I've been using Beeper, which is an app that combines all your chat programs into one. iMessage, Signal, and whatever apps you choose. There's up to like 15, I believe. This has worked exceptionally well with messages being received just as fast as being on an iPhone. I can still see all the emojis, be part of group messages, receive videos, tapbacks, and replies. The unfortunate part is it's not available to everyone at the moment. They're only allowing so many people to be part of the beta. Plus, once it does go public, it will cost $10 per month. Personally, it's worth it for me because even apps like Signal only allow to be used on one phone at a time. Beeper allows me to use Signal and iMessage on any device, including a Windows computer. But if you're strapped for cash, you can create your own AirMessage server, which is free, or just embrace the green bubble revolution. FaceTime was an issue that's something you just can't do with Android. Thankfully, most of the time I can take FaceTime calls on my Mac Studio or MacBook Pro, but on the road, my wife would have to use Signal and my kids use Messenger. In all honesty, I don't use FaceTime that often, so losing access to this was really not a big deal, especially with so many alternative apps to choose from. FaceTime really is more for my parents to talk to my kids rather than anything else. Now, I know some of you will say the Z Flip 3 is not a fair comparison to the iPhone 13 Pro since it has less cameras and obviously worse battery life. Trust me, really terrible battery life. But I'm willing to give that up for this specific form factor. And I'm also hoping when I get the Z Flip 4, the battery life will improve too. So make sure to subscribe to see that video. Plus, I've made the camera situation kind of work. I only use the wide camera to film, and because it has a cover screen, I can always use the rear cameras to take a selfie. In fact, the footage with proper lighting is more than good enough for vertical video, especially since Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok compress the living bejesus out of it. Now, I'm definitely giving up some of the small luxuries of the Apple ecosystem. For example, when I used to get a phone call on my iPhone, it would ring on my Mac Studio, iPad, or MacBook. But since I'm using the Galaxy Z Flip 3, the workaround is to use Windows Phone Link on a PC and Samsung Flow with a Galaxy Tab S8 instead of an iPad. But the problem with that is it would require a massive change to your workflow, and not everyone is a tech reviewer with all these devices accessible to them. Notifications are much better on Android with proper chronological order as they come in, and a lot more organized compared to Apple's approach. Widgets are kind of even. Some would say they're better on Android as they're more interactive, but I think they look nicer on iOS since devs take the time to make them look better. I've also noticed that a lot of Android developers have sort of abandoned updating their widgets, which is really unfortunate. Now, I don't use Android Auto or CarPlay that often since I drive a Tesla, but when I drive my wife's car, I do prefer Android Auto because of Google Assistant. It can understand a larger volume of questions over Siri, it's insanely more accurate, and it understands context. Plus, most of my devices at the studio and at home are set up to use Google Assistant. The benefit of using any new Android device is it will come with a USB Type-C port, meaning I no longer have to carry a lightning cable around and just use one Type-C cable to not only charge my phone, but also my laptop and headphones. My wallet situation has completely changed. MagSafe has been very valuable, allowing me to have up to 3 cards in my MagSafe Apple Wallet. Plus, if I leave my wallet behind, my phone will notify me by using Apple's Find My. There's a few wallet cases for the Z Flip 3, but most of the good ones only hold 1 or 2 cards, which has forced me to go back to carrying a separate wallet with a tile inside. If you use a normal candy bar style phone, you'll have a lot more case wallets to choose from. Finally, for headphones, I mostly wear earbuds to work out, and I use the Beats Fit Pro, but they work and function perfectly with Android and even have an app to support them. The only iPhone-specific feature I lost was automatic switching between devices, which is a nice feature, but it's not a must-have feature. Honestly, it feels great to be reviewing phones again, considering I've only reviewed 3 this year, but this is how I go back and forth between iOS and Android. Hopefully that gives you some tips and ideas if you're planning to switch. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.